Imagination may be game to play. Maybe the mindless made mind this way. Maybe minding means things different to the mind's minding. And minding their own messaging. Cantankerous tolerance might make the minds may be able to pollinate. Maybe the mindless makes love this way at rate. Imagination made radio science arcade in which I promenade. Imagination radio science brain, we contain this contagious ache to see what music holds for muses and literates kids with thick and yawns that stick. This might make something like magic, or might just be made. Imagine it comes from aim, from your brain, that spinning plates you contain become things you might not be able now to explain. Radio science brain, the awkwardness in you becomes something you want to come through. Imagination might you might be confused unless you commit to jump the chasm in front of you with all of you. The mind is made this chaos play with us. Oh, no, finally that chaos wants to play with us anyway. Amazing agent, sages layer in it. Ray from all brains to all brains. From a field of exclusion, I wouldn't pronounced somehow through the space, the way it sounds inside your brain, like a language in another planet's mainframe. From a field of exclaims Jermaine Fremont's your name, Jermaine. You are scient, remains Viviant, imagination clarionic, as an advocate for how kindness will save woke's wake. Imagination ache, pretend that kindness came in case the evil scientist, or one who put on the disguise of it with multi-billions, said wokeness is a mind virus. Maybe we have to instead now resist. It's really important to be aware, I think. I don't know if there's anything more important than being aware. What possibly could be more important than, at least often, being aware? What in the world is wrong with wanting to have access to awareness? What is wrong with wanting to be woke? What is wrong with wanting to know enough to have situational awareness to care for oneself and to know that the people around us can trust us, to know fact from fiction, to know shit from shinola? And calling something X from trying to cross it out. I don't really see the point of ignoring the far-right twixtery of what flaming money pile slide is happening right now in vandalistic spectacular society, or collapse of. It's really spectacular abuse to see someone take such malice upon the concept of kindness as to target it as a mind virus is really, really amazing. As either just an incredible blind spot or a clear harbinger of intent for fascism. Targeting empathy is at the top of the list. Well, nothing's good on the list of red flags for fascism. But what exactly in the world is wrong with awareness and being able to take care of oneself so well that you are a resource for others around you because you're connected enough to what matters to the world around you because you actually care and are a responsible member of society enough that you don't treat other people like vermin if they don't look like you or something, so that you're not looking to say, well, there's a border between me and them, they're not quite human, or they don't look the same as me, they're not quite human like me. What in the world would be wrong with wokeness unless you wanted to create such terrorist divisions between and against and to erase parts of human family? We have to question and say, no, Elon Musk, or insert any other name, to people who terrorize and stochastically terrorize and groom people and haze and bully and abuse people to dislike or be embarrassed by or want to recalibrate from their own calibration their sense of comfort and right and wrong, and empathy and connection to human family. No, Elon. Bad person. Bad CEO. Bad, essentially still CEO. Bad business person. Bad man. Bad man. Please stop behaving this way so that people don't have to take out such caustic words as to say bad man. Bad man to you, because you have the capacity for so much good. So, no. There are girders, there are guardrails, and there are guardians of democracy. There are guardians of liberty. The devil already has an advocate. And there are guardians of liberty. And we will not allow you to terrorize wokeness from human family. We will not allow you to terrorize kindness and caring from people. Blithering, ridiculous, quivering mass of dark triad malice. The kind human person somewhere inside your quivering malice and sweaty hate is welcome at the table, but you cannot bring your diabolical, bigoted cancer to the table, Elon. It doesn't matter how many billions. You cannot bring your cancer to the table. You need to get mental health support now. Period. Ask for the help that you need, or it will be administered to you. It's good that you understand that. There are limits, and they will be applied to you. You will meet their application. Come true. Why? Because we like you. Find self-regulation. Ask for help. Accept being human, please. Wokeness is not a mind virus. Wokeness is kindness. It is humanity. If you are an actual guardian of free speech, you will learn to hear reproach, sir. Elon. You will learn to hear reproach. And you'll learn to, hopefully you will move on from the original trauma that keeps prompting in you. Because we need to get to moving on with the actual innovation that people who want to make good things happen promise and enact. And this categorically torturous meltdown you're having at your daughter and, I believe, your child, and at society, it's not all right. It's not all right for you. It's not all right for any of us to have to withstand an abusive relationship of the kind you are working to institute. We're already working to get out of an entirely global abusive relationship with individual one. So, no, we're already breaking up with somebody we didn't ask to come and assault us in our home. We're already breaking up with somebody that we're getting texts from No. The answer is no. There are different ways to participate, and you need to back off and realize you've lost trust. Why in the world would people submit to a Nazi supporter like you, Elon Musk? You are not bringing free speech based on the way that you take criticism. You are not engaging in the support of free speech. And the gaslight, constant ad blurb, the quality of being a lurker in the VIP lounge at the door of Twixt is ridiculous. It is abusive and gross. God, it's gross. It is so gross, man. That's what you seem to enjoy, is how debasing your treatment of people is. You seem to love debasing people. Why? There are different ways to find a friend or to ask for help because you're trying to find something to make things end. This can change into something better. And so I ask, what is wrong with being aware and kind and situationally aware in ways that have empathy and social connection? Humanity. What is wrong, Elon, with humanity? What is wrong with kindness? What in the world are you trying to do by trying to demonize wokeness? As it was coined in this era by African Americans, to call yourself anti-woke is categorically white supremacist, sir, and wrong. It is toxic and bigoted and intentionally terroristic and offensive. It's unacceptable behavior. It's not tolerable language from someone who wants to be in public human family. Sir, how dare you, sir? How dare you, sir? That is the question, Elon. Is how dare you? How dare you try to pick a fight with kindness? It's time for you to ask for help from professionals and get therapy, because we're not going to institute something to defend ourselves from the mech suit you're building or whatever. It's just time to find your humanity. it's time to find your humility and to ask for help with what seems very clearly to be a dark triad personality disorder or condition. Neurodivergence, let's say. If you're asking for help, the answer is yes, humanity can help. But you cannot bring that cancer to the table. Here we go. Radio, science, Brahan. Excellent. From Minneapolis, Minnesota, at the Mystery Font. It is Mystery Font 42, open to it. And we're talking to Elon Musk and others who might, talking to Elon Musk and others who might perniciously target humanity and human kindness by setting a cruising missile for wokeness. You, sir, have donned the falsehood. Wokeness is simply human kindness and awareness, administered so that we know what's going on around us enough that we can take care of one another. That's my understanding. And all of the weird, cultish, creepy scapegoating and boogeymanning and terror spectrum nonsense of targeting wokeness is very clearly about targeting blackness and very clearly about targeting anything that's not white cis male. It is time to speak directly against terrorists who have found themselves in office like Ron DeSantis and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Carrie Lake. The answer is no. No, Sarah Huckabee Sanders. No. Greg Abbott. No. Absolutely not. No one talks to humans like that. No one treats people like that. You do not treat Americans like that. People trying to normalize and or erase the history of genocide and enslavement are participating just like the enslavers themselves. You are putting your name on the plaque of I was at Wounded Knee on the wrong side of history. If you are standing against CRT, which also is not being taught in elementary schools, in schools elementary, I would have thought that the thought and the knowledge of that was as elementary. But in any case, to tell kids that they can't talk about racism or empathy is terroristic child abuse. See? How dare you? With your Ku Klux Klan-sery, it's just pathetic. And it has only been accomplished through a terroristic campaign of Planned Parenthood. that neo-Nazis, under the guise of this corruption of Jesus' mission, Christian nationalism and this prosperity Christianity crap is just the cruelty and greed of Herod himself riding the ship of manifest destiny like a joystick sex toy. Absolutely no way. People who are just the latest barrage of the worst particle that came here, the answer is no. On this stolen land, we are going to record what happened. And we're not going to let the history of this malicious crime scene be medicated with new levels of frosting and celebration of couches on top of tanks. No. Ron DeSantis. No. Elon Musk. No. Sarah Huckabee Sanders. No. White supremacist patriarchal terrorists. No. Get mental health care for the mental cancer of hating groups of people that you yourself have as your problem. Those things are not things to spread. Asking for help is what you need to spread. When I had anger consume me and I found I was abuse, I had to take the education of that. When I made a mistake, I took care. Finding and understanding post-traumatic stress disorder and that I was out of regulation, so that if I'm raising my voice because I'm feeling threatened, I haven't lost awareness that people have already left the room scared by the sound of my voice. Being aware enough to hear someone saying, "You are hurting me, what you're doing is wrong," and to repair is the capacity of reason. Not a reason, not like, oh, I found a piece of evidence that is a reason for a choice, but the capacity of reason to be advisable and to be able to take in information regardless of where it's coming from. Not angry because, well, that guy likes the Packers and I don't think that I'm going to eat them. What? We are a constitution of a membership. We are a human family, and that is what constitutes us. From toes to head, from hip to hip, from tip to tip. And now this from my lips. We are all sinking ships unless we start an anti-eclipse of kindness and say woke is anti-blindness. Not that loss of sight can doom anyone to endless night. What I'm saying is we can agree that we are humanity, yes, actually, and being awake enough to know that we are woke enough that we are not cruelty is basic to someone not trying to bring atrocity. Elon Musk. The joke of you being a stalker in the front window of your chocolate factory is never going to be a funny joke. This has been creepier than creepy for long enough. And you seem to be aligning yourself with the Russell Brand, Tucker Carlson, neo-Nazi particles. The answer is no. The answer to whether or not this is all right, and whether we will watch you slide down the vandalism of all of our connected light, is no. Stop abusing and terrorizing human kindness. Terrorizing slogans against wokeness is ridiculous. If you have something to say, be specific and be in conversation. But from a megaphone on the megaphone with the main megaphone override, this casual stalker vibe, it's a hard no for me, dog. All right, dog. All right, dog. All right, human. Are we good? Are you going to find some health care? You don't get to play chicken with humanity. You do not get to torture human family. Elon Musk. Step away from the device array. Pretty please. Now. Calm down and reckon with the Nazi threats you have been making to human family. Now. Now account for yourself. It's not jokes. It's not, oh, I didn't. You actually have to calm down and dial in and talk with someone, not just trying to give cover for your neo-Nazi fantasy. If that is not what you're bringing, this would be the time when you come clean that you've been having problems and need help. That's all right. You've been trying to find yourself in this role. But the role is not Lex. We're not auditioning for Lex. And we're not auditioning for a combination of Bruce Wayne and the Joker. We don't have that role open. And you're not hired for that role. The embarrassing public child abuse and public relational abuse and public terrorism you conduct is reprehensible and embarrassing and pathetic. Please, just reach out if you want to talk. It doesn't have to be to me. But find human family before a catastrophe comes to tell you, none of me. The strangeness we're seeing, I think the danger that is allowing the falsehood in general, an age of falsehood, and people to simply don a falsehood and say, Nothing to seen here. It is plausible compromised status that can be argued later. The worst people to be in office would be the ones who come in when they see a way to get in falsely. And if they argue to stay once found out, that's the test. That they mean to take it to the hole with a hornet's nest. When someone doesn't seem to want to do it, but looks like it's going to be them, and is making all kinds of threats about not obeying the basic tenets of democracy, and we say, you will obey and listen to you'll adhere to the election results, right? You'll allow a peaceful transition of power, as we always do in this country. For someone to just casually say, I'll keep you in suspense, has he not done that? Is that not exactly where we've been? And let's see here. That's really big. Changing it. There we go. Radio, science, brain. What is the problem with being woke for realsleys? What, with or without the feelsleys in the world, is in any way negative about being woke? Someone offers you awareness, you don't want it? Okay. Fine, but they're awake and aware. And if you wanted to know about that later, go and talk to that weird dude who was telling everybody, hey, you know that thing down there, okay, I don't care. Okay, fine. But he's willing to tell people about it. Okay. Maybe you don't want to hear every single story at the bus stop. Maybe you don't want to stop and listen to someone telling you about their day. But being webbed in enough so that people aren't afraid of you, and if you need help and you're confused and you say, wait, what time is it? That people don't literally just walk away because they know you're part of trusted human family. That we are related enough that there is trust and kindness. And you don't have to be suddenly on a street corner in an odd place in the middle of the night, thrown out of a car or something. It doesn't have to be a Jason Bourne movie to have things be difficult suddenly. Or to have an incredible opportunity happen and be able to participate in it because someone knew to say, hey, your kid really likes that kind of stuff, right? He was doing that tap dance with that jazz music downstairs that other day. I think he might want to come. Well, somebody goes and does an internship with a choreographer and gets a job that sustains the rest of their life. Or they meet a mentor who's working to support that community and become a part of a nonprofit, or they meet somebody who's an entrepreneur that, I mean, these connections that we make, the trust that we build, like what part, I think that's where we have to be at, is to understand that people who are really not just on autopilot, I think the word woke has been weaponized against people who care. But there's literally nothing wrong with being woke. And the weird, the things that, like, deep batshit cult kind of adherents throw at the idea of wokeness, the stuff that Ron DeSantis seems to sort of imply is related to being woke or aware and kind, like caring about people, really seems to be about anti-blackness, anti-LGBTQ community hate, and again, just anything that's not cis-white male, and advocating for those communities that aren't cis-white male is woke and bad. It's literally just a rebranding for the KKK. It's just a rebranding for people who want racism to be all right, for people who want the white supremacist matrix of terrorism and patriarchal control to just be re-veneered and like, oh yeah, I guess we just chose the blue pill. We went back to sleep. We have to recognize that I would like to be I'd like to be proved wrong. That maybe there's a massive renovation that's about to come through, in terms of Elon Musk is going to drop a second shoe where all of these extremists who have been made welcome at Twixt, at far-right Twix, where these people will now be invited in terms of like, well, you're here, so let's have some actual examples about what you're talking about. We're not going to make a coddling space. If you want a conversation about these things, have it and come back to the human race. Maybe Elon Musk is about to pull an about and un-Two-Face. Maybe there's something marvelous about to take place that is a revelation of who he really is. But it looks pretty clearly like we just have a petulant, joyriding, what do you mean I'm not Superman? Well, then I'll be Lex. I just don't want to hear the song of that luthier. I don't think we need to take any more abuse. It's ridiculous. What in the world, I think, essentially, demonizing wokeness is about disabling reproach. It's about creating deference for Karenhood. It's about creating deference for white suspicion. Because if white Karen talking about white suspicions and white discomfort trumps other things, and is the reason that violence is just to begin and is taken as evidence, that it seems to me is what the codec, what makes the codec of Marguerite Trader Greed aim at woke is that, and that woke is about being connected to one another. It's about caring. And it's essentially like, it is the worst terroristic playground bully caught pulling apart animals on the playground who's making fun of people for having empathy for other creatures or people, let alone. That essentially it is Marjorie Taylor Greene hazing us for saying, well, we're not a Christian nation, but we're down with Jesus, actually. Like, whether or not, like, you don't have to be a Christian to appreciate the good and truth of the mission of Jesus Christ. So why would you directly target the mission of Jesus Christ, teaching us to be woke? Why would you target that mission? Why would you target a collective commonality? The idea of a golden rule, the idea of what it means to be a decent human being, the idea of, like, law and order and sort of what happens in those boundaries. Again, if you don't like someone calling you a bigot, don't be bigoted. Or find a peaceful way to not be around people, or elude someone who's going to talk to you about it. But free speech says we get to say, shut up, don't ever fucking say that again. It's not censorship. It's not censorship to say, I don't like the sound of that kid. It's not censorship to argue that it's wrong to dead name. It's basic personal and interpersonal conscience. I think that's the thing, is going after woke was about taking down political conscience. Because, the idea of paying one's way, the idea of pitching in, of being a, symbiotically germane, if not immediately, a productive member of society, someone who is a symbiotic part of the whole and offers benefit and brings things to the table, does their best. Like, what do we vaunt? And then what part of that is not woke? That there are bigots who don't like things about the LGBTQ community or trans people, or don't like any particular community. Those are just really issues of bigotry. All of the other than like boogeyman projection hyperbole, really the only real seeming critique that keeps coming back is all stuff that's just connected to white supremacist, patriarchal, terrorist bigotry. It's about demonizing trans people, or it's about demonizing black people, or, anti-wokeness is just the new look. It's just the new cut of the Ku Klux Klan hood is anti-wokeness. That is, in a nutshell, is anti-wokeness is the new Klan hood. And I think that's probably the best way to say it. Because it's euphemistic, and there are people who will dare to say certain things that are connected to that bigotry, but not as many. So it cloaks that stuff. I think the real, the real pathetic, money-grabbing irresponsibility and like hacky shame of Bill Maher's meanderings are to just underline and self-congratulatorily just flop down on the couch of political correctness as this thing. I think that the left failed pretty hard to steward what the real conversation is there. Because to me, the question is not about being politically correct. That politically correct was a criticism, a derogatory kind of assessment of like woke scolding, essentially, of feedback that was supposedly of a certain ideological bent, and was about limiting free speech, and was about censorship or something. And this idea that someone is trying to correct other people necessarily when engaging in communication about matters of conscience, that's where this was just like essentially the loudest playground bullies folding their arms and having a talk show about it. Because, I mean, the idea of PC doesn't really go very far unless we're talking about political conscience, because it's about taking that sort of thing seriously. And I think a lot of Bill Maher's career has essentially been gaslighting and making fun of, like, well, I'm not really going to give that topic a chance. I'm not going to give that thing a voice. Or saying, well, the way you're advocating for this thing is annoying, so screw you and screw this topic. It's really like deeply irresponsible, vandalistic public discourse that just like should get a room or get a beer at the bar and find somebody that wants to listen to you there. It's not really, it's like Joe Rogan. It's there's the promulgation of truly lazy or intentionally malicious disinformation and casual, egregious neglect. Because again, we want to be aware and we want to be somewhat advisable, hopefully. I might not love it to have my neighbor, knock on my door early in the morning when I don't expect it and I need some sleep. But if something was going on wrong and an alarm clock was going off and screwing with how their baby was sleeping, and I could have understood and fixed that if I had only cared enough to have a way to communicate with them that was simple, to just be a decent neighbor. I mean, that's all wokeness is being a decent neighbor within human family. And that's what's truly diabolical and just patently evil. I don't know that evil necessarily really exists in people, but if it does, it would be targeting wokeness now. Elon, Ron, Sarah, Marjorie, Carrie, Don, and all of the Donners of the falsehood. It's just abominable. Because we're past the point. We're well past the point. Although there are still a lot of people, it seems like in the media and press, who are not cognizant. We should be past the point of saying, well, gosh, why is George Santos, doesn't he realize, doesn't Donald Trump realize that, I mean, what does he think? Did the murderous bank robbers think about whether or not they were hurting people as they slaughtered them on the way out of the bank? Gosh, good question. We're dealing with people who are showing themselves to be in a methodical and bloodthirsty siege. 8 years of a collective abusive relationship and losing 1.2 million lives to COVID alone. When on January 28th, 2021, Donald Trump was advised, this will be the great security challenge of your presidency. It is deadly. And he did nothing. Because he didn't want to cause a panic. But only someone creating a reality distortion field that there's not time to answer the most pressing questions imaginable would not themselves volunteer the answer or answer to, and so then what did you do to alert people appropriately as to not cause a panic? Boy. Are you kidding? If you are entrusted with the watch and then you say, oh, I don't want to cause a panic, I'm going to wait to inform people. I'm going to tell them other than the truth and endanger them. If your assertion is that you misled and dosed millions of people, 1.2 million of whom died, and you were right to do so, and you just made the best call you could, and you have absolute authority. No. 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 We need to wake up. It's good to be woke because that's when you realize that you are, if you are, in an abusive relationship that threatens your life or the freedom of your family or the freedom of your country or your globe. Trump has clearly demonstrated that he is coming back to sow violent dictatorship. It's not a movie. And watching it like a movie is evil. We have the capacity to see what's happening and to say, we can address grievances, we can address harms, we can address concerns, and I don't I don't see how allowing people to break down the institutions that are supposed to justify or verify that things are safe or just. I don't think that that's sustainable. I think that the sniff test for is this person safe to be on the ballot would be whether or not they're threatening us to put them on or else. The stress test, the fitness test would be, well, did you even ask whether or not it was appropriate for you to declare running for president since you committed a physically violent and clerically duplicitous and illegal coup? We're dealing with a bad faith actor. And just like the Nazis, we're just following orders. We're just keeping our individual particular jobs, none of which say contradict the president and say, no, sir, you don't have absolute authority in this particular moment, when actually you're supposed to be keeping your job and making sure that that person's chauffeur has the message from the thing and don't rock the boat, kid. Does no one ever just say, no, you don't have absolute authority? The court will rule on your motion, blah, 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 but we're going to respond directly now. As an officer of the court and as an American citizen, I'm going to tell you, in answer to your assertion that it's okay and you should have had those documents that you stole returned to you because you have absolute authority. The response to that is, no, you don't. No one has absolute authority. And it is an indictment by you of yourself. It is a confession that you are the wrong person to be trusted as a fry cook or a finger painting judge. Please let us see. We are not dealing with a good faith actor. We're dealing with how to prehend and apprehend the falsehood. And that's Donald Trump and this coterie of thugs and others who are coming in through breaches that, like George Santos, has exploited. We are the reality distortion fielding. And political conscience is a good thing. Political conscience is something that a scient mind has. We are conscient. We're conscient. Conscient. I think that PC was a nothingness. It was just a name that PC was just a name that some brown shirts started calling people to tease them for caring in a goofy or annoying way. I think it's really just about scapegoating people who care. And what we're dealing with here is people who do not want to be held accountable for their lack of or quality of political conscience. And, to just label and name people and demonize the idea of, hey, we should be aware. Hey, let's be aware of, did you know this company did this? Did you know your uncle did that? Do you know that's why they're scared? Like, we can't be a constant catalog of everything, but being aware so that, we have a functional conscience and we know enough about what's going on around, or we're open to hearing, like, hey, I love that album, but that last song, that chorus that they keep saying that, the ex of my neighbor was a big fan, and she's mentioned a couple times it's really hard for her to hear that, and you play it a lot. Could you lay off on Friday nights when she gets off work? She always has the night off on Fridays, and I'll buy you headphones if you don't play it anymore on your speakers at night, please. Like, how do we reach out to one another and say, please be sensitive where you're not showing sensitivities when it's needed or when we want to ask for those things? I mean, wokeness is how Ruby Bridges got to school. Wokeness is how Martin Luther King Jr. had people with him on his journey. Wokeness is how we've done the work of moving from the wrong to the right side of history again and again. It's how we are here. Wokeness protects us. Wokeness and caring and wanting to be wholesome and loving and good. What's not conservative about that? What's not a traditional conservative value that makes sense about wanting to be a good neighbor who knows how to hold their own boundaries and be their own person, but also cares enough, if only pragmatically, that they see symbiotically being linked and available to others means that others are symbiotically linked and available to you potentially, that there is benefit, and that it is goodness to be good to the degree that we can. Just what literally in the world is wrong with wokeness? Because if it's trans people, there's nothing wrong with trans people. If it's black people because of something or blah blah, no, there's nothing wrong with black people. There's nothing wrong with caring about having education that is not indoctrinating children to small bandwidths of bigotry, but does allow them to have libraries rather than detention centers. While CRT is not taught in elementary schools and high schools, we do need to talk about racism in schools. We do need to talk about oppression. We do need to talk about reality. I mean, let's just be very clear. We're letting Ron DeSantis and Sarah Huckabee Sanders and other racist, terrorist bigots like them, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, go to bed thinking, a lot of us seem to think it's just fine, that they are terrorizing people with dehumanizing, scapegoating, murderous bigotry. And none of it's okay. None of this control of women and victimization of essentially non-cis white men, none of it is all right. These are the worst elements of society. These are the Nellie Olsons. These are the, sweep the leg Johnny kid. These are the bullies. These are the worst bloodthirsty criminals in society. And we need people who seem to be trying to do something good along the way, even if they're wildly lost, like Elon Musk. If you are wildly lost and need help, then it's time to declare that, because otherwise it looks like you are opening malice and contempt upon humanity. Woke is a good thing. Woke is a beautiful thing, because woke is a you thing. Woke is an us thing. And no one should take that away from you. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at here. Yeah. Yeah, I'm down with that. Yeah, that's good. I should really start broadcast. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Anyway, radio science brain. Anyway, Elon Musk, what's wrong with being woke? If it's something related to your bigotry, then let's say nope, that's up in smoke. If there's something else you have to say, you should say it specifically or take your terrorism away. There's nothing wrong with being woke unless you have something wrong that you see with humanity itself, actually. Ourselves, actually. Back off. Wokeness. It's us. And your terrorism stops now. So stop now. Radio science brain. This is the renovation of love's imagination. You are more than a brain. You are the dream awakened. You're the radiant rain. Parallel against hate. Potentially with vegan bacon. Alrighty then. Radio science brain. It really gets busy when I have to do that every time that I say the 3-word cocktail. All right. There we go, Stress. Radio science brain. I'm violating grift, I'm violating hateful contempt with bliss, imagination, musical vision contained in it. Intuition is your carry-on under your parasol. Let's go for caterwauling, imagine love falling and we catch it all. Sing it is up to us to bring the ball to sting, hate back and end the calling. Imagination has a calling to stop the mauling. Be nature, be named the creation, love campaign. Imagination aid and ache, come king to play, not abdicate. Radio science brain participate, pitching for the main line of imagination 8. Radio science brain perpendicular freight, parallel against pain, parallel against hate, relay the nature radio science break your brain into the parade. Imagination aim mind made, might begin, be named, might may be named, foolish enough to play, be educated in part by how you throw yourself into the joy of the game, or need no ball to have a ball, need no goal to know you won at all. Radio science brain be germane. You are a sentient brain. Trust your intuition, it's the train. Radio science brain, pretend that kindness came. In case you asked, then activate in haste. For rain from all brains to all brains to the A's today. It came, it might not be the way wax from wane, but it's able to break. Renovation of love's imagination. Be named, be the capable ace, be the capable ace, imagination ace. Take aim, remain. Science, would liaise, would prescribe for this moment today. Radio science, gray array, amazing egg built into aid. Your schema helped us wake to find woke was safe. Imagination aid for all sake. We found we could wake, and once we woke from that dream, we found woke was safe. We found awareness was a way to be aware. Awareness was contained in our brains. Be woke or be smoke. Be known of your knowledge. Be sensed by your sensitivity and hope. Be woke, be against pain, be against hate, before the brain. Radio science, brain, imagination eight. We are the sentient college of all minds. I allege we are in it all together, whether or not we're on the ledge. Radio science brain. Who would want to demonize the idea of wokeness? I suppose someone putting drugs into someone's drink to try to make them pliable would not want someone to be woke. I guess someone conducting a campaign of psychological operations to degrade Americans' belief in safe governance or in one another. I guess someone trying to do that would like us not to be woke. Like someone wanting to hoodwink you and take your home would not want you to be woke. The pursuit of happiness requires awareness and some amount of, hopefully, at least access to being able to connect as community. Who would want to disable that? There's not a good reason, a wholesome reason, to be against wokeness. There are reasons that are about dictatorial, coercive control. There are reasons about supporting the Ku Klux Klan and patriarchal terrorism and having people tied up in your basement to do whatever you want to them. That's what anti-wokeness looks like. Anti-wokeness is pro-slavery. Anti-wokeness is pro-oppression. Anti-wokeness is anti-blackness. Anti-wokeness is anti-humanity. Anti-wokeness is hateful. Anti-wokeness is an atrocity. Anti-wokeness is part of genocide. Anti-wokeness is Antichrist ideology. And while I would want it to stop, I wouldn't say that people should be thrown in jail for saying that there's something wrong with wokeness. As diabolical and messed up as that sounds, I want people to have the freedom to. I want people to have freedom of speech, and freedom of ideas. That association and freedom of speech, are symbiotically linked with. So, the truly Nazi fascism of Sarah Huckabee Sanders going for banning words. What a horrible person. You are being a horrible, horrible person. You are being Fahrenheit 451. You are being a terrorism to human family. Woke is kindness. Come. We are a kindness. Come. We are arrived already here. Humanity is here. And we are safe to care and steward and love if we don't terrorize one another. And so, what on planet Earth is wrong with being woke? Which bigotry have you assigned to wokeness in scapegoating? What boogeyman projecting your own crimes are you throwing at the idea of human dignity and kindness and awareness of that to foster it for all? What possible explanation do you have for so thinly having disguised a Nazi ideology? It is disgusting. It is pernicious. It is rancid. The assertion that wokeness is anything but wholesome and kind and good. And you should be ashamed. Greed is not good. Need, for lack of a better word, is good. Not being woke is how we fall for the falsehood. Need is sacred. And so being able to have executive function enough to guard our safety and hopefully catch once in a while when we're being fooled by a confidence trickster. Having executive function and critical thinking skills and emotional intelligence that come from learning to deal with difficult topics and topics that can make us uncomfortable is a part of being a decent person. And I can't imagine what kind of life you're preparing children for if you disable them from being able to talk about difficult situations and disable them from being able to deal with information that is different and foreign from them so that they don't simply explode whenever anyone is not exactly like them. I think that the very clear indoctrination that Sarah Huckabee Sanders and Ron DeSantis and Marjorie Taylor Greene want to perform upon children is to disable them, indoctrinating them into white supremacist patriarchal terror. And if you don't have any emotional intelligence-based kinds of skills from having the expectation that you develop those things and are expected to, in age and stage appropriate ways, reckon with difficult issues and ask questions and learn about it, and in your own time develop ideas about those things. What possible virtuous or sane or legal reason is there for disabling children from being able to deal with real world issues unless you just want them to be without the ability to regulate themselves so they're easy to put away in jail for the rest of their lives? If you want to indoctrinate people into being disappointing inmates, then you would follow the instructions of Sarah Huckabee Sanders and Ron DeSantis and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Ricky Lake and Greg Abbott and other racist, white supremacist, patriarchal terrorists who have weaseled their way into office. And that's why it's good to be woke, because you see people like that coming and don't let them in. That's why it's good to be woke now. If we are woke now, we have got past the ringing in our ears enough to realize that the person coming back to the front door of our house and banging on the door saying, "I'm here to make an honest woman out of you," left our ears ringing and left shit and blood in the national capital and has been saying he did nothing wrong. To be woke and recognize an iceberg with sentience and malice coming for us, or else, it says. To be woke enough to see that and calm enough to do something effective. The only person who doesn't want you woke wants to eat you, or sell you, or make you into something to smoke. If you see something, say something. You're more likely to see something if you're woke.
I think I can see him. I am camera on. I am camera on camera. Memory font, yes, it's cool, this haunt. I'm remembering the memory of founding. I'm memorizing how I'm doing this thing. I am memory of how something comes in. I am a station that weighs resonance to know if it's possible not to explode. I will know if it's possible not to explode. I can tell I have nodes, and I know how nodes know. I notice, and I have other sides. plain, and I'll say it, but the plain also is just one plain and contains niche situants, sapiens. See, as we're lifting off, I can still see that situation. It looks like cloth now. I see those capsules there now, just squares. Those whole areas are hectares, and they're part of planetary parts. I now love charts. Of course, has parts, and the journey knows that journeys have a heart and might even end or start if the mind has that kind of fetish, or is just remorseful about how contact comes in store. In a solar system where genocide has crept in, this is endemic in that spectrum. You are not this, you are many these, you are this, and all of love's specificities. Please pardon my off melodies. I'll bend, I can climb, dissonance and calm harm notes my tower be. Love from me comes in honesty. I can't climb. There are notes I've noted inside and round and out of me. So welcome a home with me to you. Welcome a cool pool that's older than school. Welcome the mystery that reminded me that pools are a communal way. Love our heat cool. scanters that answer the call against cancer. Intersectionally with vampirism's action can be called. Popeye open, no Popeye.
Oh. The loop there caught me by surprise. Because the clip ends quickly. I'm not sure if there's more to the clip or if that was the end of the entire recording. In a solar system where genocide has crept in. Well, that was a memory from a previous day at the Mystery Font. What else can I share of previous days here at the font?
So, to my favorite people in the world, the seniors. I'm a senior. I know you don't know that. Nobody knows that. Maybe you don't have to tell them, but I'm a senior. We are making tremendous progress with this horrible disease that was sent over by China. China will pay a big price for what they did to the world and to us. But we have medicines right now, and I call them a cure. I went into the hospital a week ago. I was very sick. And I took this medicine, and it was incredible. It was incredible. I could have walked out the following day, sooner. It was incredible the impact it had. And we're going to make that and others that are similar to it, almost identical, we're going to make them available immediately. We have an emergency use authorization that I want to get signed immediately. The FDA has moved at a level that they've never moved before. Things that would take 2, 3, 4 years are taking a matter of weeks or even sooner than that. And that's because of me. We're taking care of our seniors. You're not vulnerable, but they like to say the vulnerable, but you're the least vulnerable. But for this one thing, you are vulnerable, and so am I. But I want you to get the same care that I got. I got incredible care at Walter Reed, incredible doctors, and this medicine in particular, one medicine was unbelievable. You're gonna get the same medicine, you're gonna get it free, no charge. And we're going to get it to you soon. And the nice part is it's made by a number of companies. It's totally safe, but it's powerful against this disease. So we're going to get it out to you. We're going to take care of our seniors, all free. And I just want to thank you. And what we've gone through as a country is a horrible thing. My opponent, as you know, he talks, but he never did anything in 47 years. I did more in 47 months than he did in 47 years. He just talks. It's the same old thing. If it were up to him, you wouldn't have this, you wouldn't have anywhere near it for years. They wouldn't even be talking about anything like this. He had his chance with H1N1 swine flu, and it was one of the great disasters. He didn't know what he was doing. But I do know what I'm doing. And the seniors are going to be taken care of, and then everybody's going to be taken care of. And it's coming out really fast. So thank you very much. We love you. We love America.
Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The falsehood knows.
each other's hands. This time might be the last I fear, unless I make this all too clear. I need you so. Take these broken wings and learn to fly again. Learn to live so free. When we hear the voices sing, the book of love will open up and let us sing. Take these broken wings. Baby, I think tonight we can take what was wrong and make it right. Baby, it's all I know, that you're half of the flesh and blood that makes me whole. Need you so. Take these broken wings and learn to fly again. Learn to live so free. When we hear the voices sing, the book of love will open up and let us in. Take these broken wings. You've got to learn to fly and live and love so free. When we hear the voices sing, the book of love will open up and let us in. Yeah, let us let us in. Baby, it's all I know, that you're half of the flesh and blood that makes me whole. Yeah, yeah. Take these broken wings and learn to fly again and live and love so free. When we hear the voices sing, the book of love will open up and let us in. Take these broken wings. You've got to learn to fly and live and love so free. When we hear the voices sing. listen. Show us where to begin. The book of love will open up and let us in. The book of love will open up and let us in. Baby, it's all I know. I need you so.
I need you so. Take these broken wings, woke these taken things, woke Foster's human family. Woke is awareness of and for human kindness and dignity. It's a good thing to be. It's not an issue of political correctness, actually. That's playground nonsense. It's about political conscience and how political conscience fosters human family. Woke is a good thing, actually. Thus endeth the lesson.